Social media have evolved as a powerful way for lawyers to raise their profile and to attract new business. Hi, I'm Larry Bodine, Editor-in-Chief of Lawyers.com and Martindale.com. I recently co-hosted a webinar for LexisNexis with Stephen Fairley, the CEO of the Rainmaker Institute. And during the webinar, we explored a variety of social media strategies for law firms, including business development. Here's a short segment from the webinar where we discuss how you will use social media.
Let's get down to some strategy and sort of focus on what are some good methods to use social media. And it goes without saying that you really need to familiarize yourself first with we're presenting the model rule of 7.1, communicating a lawyer's services, and model rule 7.2. You need to check your state ethics rules in your own jurisdiction, but they're probably going to be numbered the same way. Remember that anytime you go online, post an update, send a tweet, you are sending a communication regarding your services, and the ethics rules do apply. Now, fortunately, it's really rather basic in that you can't make any kind of anything that's false or misleading. Anything you say has to have a factual foundation. But when you get into advertising, you're going to find that many states regulate what you say. Some states will require you to keep records of what you put online. Some allow testimonials, some don't. Some require you to say, put a disclaimer that everything you put up is attorney advertising. So the ethics rules are going to apply when you're blogging, updating your website, doing a status update on Facebook, and sending out Twitter posts. So once we get beyond that, now you need to do sort of some business thinking, because social media can kind of be overwhelming unless you sort of whittle it all down and focus on what you want to do. So, for instance, you need to figure out which areas of practice you want to be known for. And of course, every lawyer is going to say, well, all of them. However, that's going to be ineffective marketing. If you're marketing everything, you're in effect not marketing. If you're marketing everything, you're not marketing anything. So I would suggest you take a look at your books and determine which practice area generates the most revenue for you. That should be the area of practice that you promote. However, you may want to promote an area of practice that you really like, or a practice that involves people that you like. And hopefully this matches perfectly with the areas of practice in which you generate revenue. Another nice thing about social media and blogging is you can do what they call geo-targeting. So you need to think out in advance, what cities do I want to be known for? What county? What other counties besides the one in which I practice? And do you want to have a statewide practice? Do you want to be known in multiple states? So get an idea about how big you want your footprint to be. And then the question arises, do I have the time to learn and set up my social media platform? And the answer is, it's not hard, but it's kind of like driving a stick shift in a car. You need to be out in a car, and somebody has to show you how to do it, and then you have to do it yourself. You can't learn to drive a stick shift from reading an instruction manual, and you can't learn social media from an instruction manual either. That said, social media is a lot of fun. I mean, I really like it. And then the second question, of course, is, am I going to have any time to devote to blogging? And we're going to discuss this later, and I think it's what the question really is where am I going to get ideas for my blog? Because if you have an idea, I think you're going to be able to find time to blog. So here are a couple of best practices for you to take home. So create a to-do list for yourself to keep yourself on track. So if you're going to update your blog over the weekend and send out tweets, for example, one method I use, Steve, is I get up first thing in the morning, and that's when I send out my tweets and set up later tweets in the day. What are times that you like to update Facebook? How do you put that on your to-do list?
You know, one of the things that I've found, it's just easier for me because I do a fair amount of speaking and traveling around the country, and I will take some time when I'm at the airport, or when I see an interesting photo or an interesting picture, or I'm going to give a seminar or presentation. It's a fantastic way, because one of the things that we've noticed is that when you use a link to a video or a picture, it's generally clicked on about 10 times as much as it is a straight text link. And so we want to drive more traffic to our blog and to our website, so we'll include videos or we'll include photos and things like that to spice it up a little bit, to mix it up a little bit. It's not always the same thing. We also try to do it on the weekends as well as during the week because, hey, our target market are attorneys, and they tend to be really busy, and they oftentimes won't have time to pay attention during the week. Sometimes we get our best results or our best responses from a Friday afternoon when they don't often take appointments, or in the evening after 5 p.m., or even during the weekend when they might be, using their smartphone to check out social media and get updated and reconnected, and then they start to see some of our links and they're able to click on them. I think you have to mix it up a little bit if you're able to do that. So that can also be, I think the way that you're doing it also works for you because you're doing it pretty consistently. And I would say that you have to have some level of consistency in there. It's not like you can just set up a LinkedIn account and never go back to it and hope that you get clients from it. It doesn't work like that.
Right. And another point is, the wrong time to start marketing is when you're not very busy, because then it's already too late. So you want to find a time in your busy practice when you're going dating, doing status updates, tweets, and updating your blog. A couple of key points I'd like everybody to take away is when you send out your messages, don't send out selling messages or advertisements. When you read those, it's a turnoff. Nobody likes to be sold. So what I recommend you do is do what Stephen and I do, and we use our posts and updates on social media to educate. Marketing by education is very effective in a sense. People, when they see your name go by on social media, will say, I'm going to read what that person has to say, because they always have something interesting and informative. And so it's a process of attraction. It's not a process of, jamming your message down other people's throats. And when you're thinking about things that you want to write about or put updates about, focus on your clients and ask yourself, what are the challenges my clients are facing? And how are ways that I can help them with legal services? So the more you don't focus on yourself and the more you focus on the client's challenges, the more clients and potential clients you're going to find are reading your material. And interesting, each of the social media is a little bit different, and they can be used for varying purposes. In my opinion, where it all starts is with your firm blog. I've been blogging every day since 2004, and I'll show you where I get some of my ideas. But the reason I like it is whenever I walk into a room at a conference, people walk up to me and tell me that they read my blog, so that a blog effectively positions you as an expert. One other nice thing is if you're blogging actively, I think you could fire your PR agency, because the blog is what is going to generate calls from the news media for you. The way reporters work is when they're assigned a story by their editor, the first thing they do is look for bloggers on the topic, because they have to call somebody for comment. And I would encourage you to turn on the commenting feature on your blog. You're really not going to form any unwanted client relationships if you're careful, but it's a wonderful opportunity to engage with people who've read your material. I know this can be done because LexisNexis runs a very active Ask a Lawyer section on Lawyers.com. Now, as Stephen pointed out, LinkedIn is the place where you're going to find business clients and potential clients. It's also where you're going to meet referral sources. As you mentioned, if you're a divorce lawyer, it's going to be a good place to, you'll probably want to join a group of marital therapists. And you can also market yourself with recommendations. It's very easy to request and give recommendations. The caveat there, again, is check your ethics rules. They're considered testimonials and are not permitted in all states. And then Stephen, I think you'll agree with me that Facebook is really the mother lode. I mean, it's got so many people who spend so much time on it, and it's a great place to connect fans, and you can send messages back and forth with your target audience, and consumers are all over Facebook. And then finally, Twitter you're limited to 145 characters. There's not a whole lot you can say beyond what you want to do is take the title of your latest blog and the address, and it is a method for you to syndicate your own content. You will attract some followers. The thing with Twitter, though, is that it's probably a place where it's a better place to listen and conduct research than to get messages out. Although, Stephen, you have something like close to 20,000 Twitter followers. How do you find it as a broadcast medium?
Fantastic. In fact, I think I'm up over 17,000 followers, but that's just one of our accounts, Larry. We have 6 different Twitter accounts.
Well, now, if you don't have 17,000 followers and you have 50 or 60, it's not going to be as effective, do you think?
Yeah, it's a pure numbers game because you're going to have a lot of noise on Twitter. You'll have a lot of, just completely unrelated people following you. And can you stop them from following you? Sure, you can block them, but I don't really pay attention to it. I don't really care because there's really only 2 kinds of people that would really follow me and listen to what I'm saying, and that's attorneys or business owners. And business owners is more an ancillary because we only work with attorneys at the Rainmaker Institute. So, and it just so happens that, virtually 100% of our clients that we work with own a business. And so we're only going to tweet or send out a message related to something that of interest to either an attorney or someone in the legal industry or someone who happens to be a business owner, because we talk about a lot of stuff related to owning your business and marketing your business and building your business, building your practice as a business, setting it up and things like that. But you're absolutely correct that it's Twitter is most effective when you have a massive following versus just 10 or 20 people following you. You're not really going to get any kind of really push from that. But what we've seen is that we've been able to generate business from Twitter and also social media. In fact, last year, Larry, on average, our marketing department generated over 254 new leads per month. That's brand new leads coming into our system, which as a small business, that's an enormous amount of leads to follow up with. But almost half of those came from social media. And remember, the leads that we're talking about are attorneys who aren't necessarily on the forefront of adopting new technologies like social media. So those of you who are attorneys out there, think of how much more advanced your prospects are in terms of adopting social media than even the legal industry is. And if we're getting that many leads off of social media, think of how many more potential leads could come in if you're a business-to-business or a business-to-consumer attorney.
Yep. We've got a question about the ethics rules from Blake. Curious about some examples of things that have gotten attorneys into trouble in the past. And the good news is that very few attorneys have gotten into trouble in the past, although the one incident I can think of is the Virginia attorney who was sanctioned because he was writing about the cases that he handled. Now, the mistake that he made was that he was clearly identifying clients and he hadn't gotten permission to discuss their cases, and so he was found in violation of the ethics rules. But the thing I think that lawyers are most concerned about is like, well, if I engage in social media, am I going to be collecting a bunch of unwanted clients who are going to, apply what I say to their own factual patterns, and I'll be stopped from them denying that they're a client of mine? And the answer is I haven't actually ever seen a reported case or an ethics opinion or any kind of a news story where that actually happened.
Once again, I'm Larry Bodine, Editor-in-Chief of Lawyers.com and Martindale.com. Thanks for watching. To see more segments of this webinar or to see a listing of future LexisNexis webinars, please go to LexisNexis.com/law firm marketing.